Do not miss out. The leveraged weekly pay ETFs are paying big time, and we have a new winner in the portfolio, and it's blowing me away. Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Spencer, and I talk all about income investing with ETFs. Now, if you guys are new here, I put $100 into each of the weekly paying dividend ETFs. When I started this journey, there were 8. Now there's 43, 44. So, of course, I'm still tracking all of them, but it's gotten a lot more tedious to do. But I will say these leveraged weekly pay ETFs by RoundHill have been performing phenomenally. We're going to look at all of the RoundHill weekly payers today and compare them to our yesterday's video of YieldMax because, of course, I want YieldMax and RoundHill to go head to head. Although I will say I think RoundHill is pulling way out in front. These leverage payers are doing phenomenally well, as you are about to find out. We also have 5 new ones that paid already, and let me tell you, it shocked me. We're going to go over all this information and more, but if you could do me a massive favor and like and subscribe, we are almost to 20,000 subscribers. I can't even believe it myself. My goal for the year was 15. We're hitting 20 early, and I cannot believe it. Thank you guys so much. I honestly, the support has been absolutely amazing. So thank you so much. Let's get into the video. Here's how this video is going to go. There's a lot of information I'm going to be throwing at you, so stay focused, all right? So we're going to look at each individual weekly paying ETF by RoundHill, and then at the end, I'll pull up the dividend tracking spreadsheet. It's available now. The template is for those that want to use it on my website, spencerinvest.com. It is a paid product because I've been working on it for a very long time now and trying to perfect it. So any opinions for this video would also be greatly appreciated. But all of that will be shown at the end. It's going to show us what has paid the most in dividends, what has lost the most in NAV, what has made the most overall. So some really key metrics there, so you don't want to miss it. Now, AUM, assets under management, the size of the fund, dividend yield is a trailing 12 months. So it's not going to be accurate on Moomoo, which if you want to use the brokerage Moomoo, I like it. You can use my link down below. But with the dividend yield, because it's a trailing 12-month, it's going to try and factor in a lot of months or weeks that haven't even paid, and it factors them at 0, lowering the yield. So it's not necessarily going to be accurate. And then we'll look at the last couple of distributions, and we'll be able to see what is paid out, which is very key for these ETFs. So starting with MAG-Y, the RoundHill Magnificent 7 covered call ETF, we can see the AUM of 18.55 million and a dividend yield of 5.42%. It's roughly more in the 30s to 40s, and I've been very impressed by MAG-Y so far. This is why. We've had quite a few dividends, probably 9 or 10. We saw a payment of $27.56, $27.56, and then we jumped up to 37.5 cents, and then again to 37.5 cents. What we're looking at here is the dividends per share. When I have it on the tracking spreadsheet, it's going to be in the amount we invested. So it will be more on that spreadsheet because I have roughly $100 in each of these. But I've been impressed with MAG-Y, and it pays on Mondays. It's one of the only 2 that actually do pay out on Mondays, which I think is really increasing its popularity, although it is still on the smaller side. We have so much to get to, so let's jump into our next ETF. QDTE is climbing back, and I could not be happier. I'm really pumped. The AUM, 781.5 million and a dividend yield of 42%. And now this one has paid for 52 weeks, meaning this is an accurate yield. 42% is phenomenal. Although we have seen some, I wouldn't even call it NAV erosion. It just doesn't do well in these down markets. We are seeing it kind of bounce back, but it has to keep going. Last few distributions, we had 14.5 cents, we had 20 cents, we had 24.5 cents, and we had almost 23 cents. Very, very solid. Happy with QDTE, but I'm curious how the rest of these payers are going to do this week. RDTE is looking similar to QDTE. 139 million in AUM, significantly lower, and a dividend yield of 33.06%. This one has not been paying for a full year, so once it hits that full year mark, I'll be curious to see how it stacks up to XDTE and to QDTE. Last couple distributions, it has been bouncing up with the dividends as well, which I'm happy about. We had 13.5 cents, then we had 24.5 cents, then we had 27.5 cents, and now we had 26 cents. Very solid. I like that it's paying quite a bit. RDTE was one that I had high hopes for in the beginning because the Russell 2000 index, which it writes the calls on, is typically higher volatility because they're smaller cap stocks. It just hasn't performed as well as I would like, but I'm hoping that it is green for you guys. I know there was one guy in the comments last video saying his RDTE position was almost green. If that was you, let me know if you got it to green this week. Looks like it was a pretty healthy week for RDTE. Let's jump into our next ETF. Ticker WEEK is so underrated. AUM 109 million, I will say. But we got to talk about it. The dividend yield of 1.4%, that's because this pays with T-bills. It's the weekly T-bill ETF, and it pays 4% every single year annually. It's how T-bills work. That's why there's no volatility in the price. It sits at the $100 range. It's pretty solid, I will say. I don't hold it currently. I'm going to make a video on it on my smaller channel. It's linked down below for those that are interested in the smaller channel on WEEK versus the very popular other fund by Neos. It's like kind of like their cash holding. It's a T-bill fund as well. And I want to put those two head to head. This one doesn't yield as much, but it pays weekly versus theirs, which pays monthly. It'll be a great video. Check out Spencer Invests Stocks, my backup smaller channel for those interested. But all in all, it's a low yield, but it serves its purpose. Also, it pays out 8 cents every single week, just under 8 cents. It never changes. Hopefully it never will. XDTE, we have a just under $400 million AUM and a dividend yield of 31%, which is accurate. I will say it's just underperformed QDTE. I was disappointed in it. It was one of my favorites early on, but it just hasn't kept up. Last couple distributions, almost 19 and a half cents, 22 cents, almost 27 cents. Wow. And then 24 and a half cents, almost 25 cents. It's solid. I'm not knocking it. I really am not. I just bought it really high and then it was much cheaper. It would have been a way better buy down in these ranges, but if only I would have known that, of course. So I'm still a fan of XDTE just because, one, it's been trading for so long. All of these RoundHill funds were some of the first weekly payers, and they were some of the first to quickly add more and more and more. And now we're seeing a crazy influx of a ton of them. So I'm really excited about that. The weekly dividend ETF strategy is growing in popularity because of retail, just like you and I, wanting to buy it and wanting to get paid every single week. Which is why we actually have more ETFs to talk about this week and our first dividend from a very important new weekly payer by RoundHill. But before we can check out that new one, ybtc, AUM 226.5 million, dividend yield of 43%. This one's interesting because it was paying monthly until January, where it converted to weekly, which our next one did the same sort of thing. But since weekly, it's bounced all over the place. One thing I will say about ybtc, it does move. Like the price moves a lot. It's not just NAV erosion. It's just how the price of the ETF works. And it went all the way back up to almost $50. Now you could have bought in at 40 and made a very nice profit, 20, 25% on your money while getting paid some crazy distributions. And I will say the distributions have been very solid. Last couple we've seen 20 cents, 20 cents, 27.5 cents, and 27.5 cents. It's getting a little more consistent, but a little bit lower with the implied volatility, I'm guessing, because it used to pay into the 40s and 50s, and now we've seen it trade in the 20 to 30 range. Not bad. It's still a very high yielder, but now for our new weekly payer. YETH, the RoundHill Ether Covered Call Strategy ETF, similar to YBTC, but on Ethereum. Now, this one also switched. We did get one payment already, but it's not weekly. It's the last of the monthly payments, and it was a nice payment, so I'm happy about it, but we can see AUM 41 million. Now, if you guys don't know, I'm a big fan of the fund ulty by YieldMax, and when they switched to weekly, they changed up their strategy. This is the same strategy, so I'm a little bit worried, but I will say when ulty switched and had their strategy switch, the AUM went from 200 million when I started tracking it to over 800 million now, which is amazing. Now, I don't think YETH is going to do that, but I will be watching the AUM to see if weekly investors are buying this one. The dividend yield is about 80%, which is really high, and it's no match for this downtrend in price, losing over 50% of its value. So only time will tell with this one. The dividends don't matter because they're monthly, not weekly, but I am curious to see how this one pays out. But now, the moment we've all been waiting for, let's talk about these weekly leveraged ETFs. AAPW is the Apple Weekly Pay ETF. Remember, these are a 1.2x leverage. It's how they pay the distribution. 7 million AUM. Dividend yield 11.4%, significantly higher than that, but this one has not performed well. It opened at a crazy price of $50, fell all the way to the 35 mark, and has been bouncing around here since. Now, a lot of bad things happened when this fund was created, because it was created, let's see, February, which if you don't know was a bad time in the market for Apple because of the tariffs. So it hasn't been doing too well. The distributions are also nothing to write home about. We can see it paid 23.5 cents, then 14.5 cents, then 26.5 cents. Not a bad one there. And now 22.5 cents. Pretty solid, actually, but it's just not holding up with that drop in price. I do like Apple in the long run, but there are some new weekly pay ETFs that I think could even outperform it. AMZW is a new one. AUM 3 million, dividend yield 0.6. We've seen two payments so far, 31 cents and 42 cents. So wow, that's pretty good. That's pretty good considering the size of Amazon and what I would expect there to be low implied volatility, but I guess not. I guess we're still doing okay, but still very impressed with AMZW so far. It's going to be hard to track until it's put into the system on my spreadsheet tracker, which I use data from Seeking Alpha. So pretty soon we'll be able to tell what our profit and loss is, but I'm really pumped for these new payers. BRKW is another one, low, under 2 million AUM, still very, very new. And we have just under 1% in distributions. We had 23.5 cents and 22 cents. Now, I imagine BRKW is going to be a slow climber. It's going to be just a safer play, I would say, just based off of BRKB's history. Now, is it a bad option? No, it's actually phenomenal in my opinion, because if you're like BRKB, but you need cash, come on. These are really interesting ways, and you're okay with a little bit of leverage and thus a little bit more risk. But I think this one could be really interesting, and I'm very happy to be tracking it. What is going on? COIW, $25.6 million market cap, dividend yield of just under 15%. This one is cooking lately. We can see last couple distributions, 45.5 cents, 34.5 cents, then 77 cents. What is happening? And 88 cents again. The distributions keep climbing. Something's going on with Coinbase stock, but it is just doing really, really well. Also, side note, if you guys are interested in my free updated weekly dividend ETF tracking spreadsheet, use the link down below, spencerinvest.com. It's also where the spreadsheet for tracking everything is available, but that cheat sheet is something free I made for you guys, so you can absolutely watch the new weekly payers that are out. It has all the data on there for when they pay and some other stuff, their yield, trailing 12 months, and some other key factors. So check it out if you're interested, and let's jump into our next ETF. This is my favorite of the new payers, HOOW, the RoundHill Hood Weekly Pay ETF, aka Robinhood stock. AUM is 7 million already. Dividend yield is 3% already. Look at the payments, 92 cents and 97 cents. That is insane. It is expensive. It's $63, almost $64 a share, but that is a crazy payout. And I know this one's going to keep paying out big because Hood stock has been going nuts. And we've seen HOOY by YieldMax doing really well also. I'm really pumped for this one, and I'm really curious to see how those two go head to head. METW's the Meta weekly pay. We can see AUM 2.55 million and a 0.65 distribution rate. Nothing to really write home about. We had a 34-cent distribution and a 44.5. So very solid so far. Really interested in seeing the volatility on Meta, how it plays in with these leverage plays, because wow, it's just very, very interesting. Let me know what you guys think in the comments of these new 5, which we've gotten to 4 of them so far. Which is your favorite? Are you a fan of HOOW like me? Do you like BRKW? Let me know in the comments. NFLW, the Netflix weekly pay. We see AUM low, 1.54 million, dividend yield 1.85, which is pretty good. We had almost 44 cents, and then we had 52.5 cents. Very solid dividends. Very impressed so far. We did buy at the high. Come on. This is my timing, guys. If you ever think that people on YouTube and whatnot are just experts at trading, I bought this literally the only day it traded above 55. It's just my luck. And it went right down after. So, I mean, I can't complain. I think it's hilarious. But I'm really interested in seeing how this one trades. What is even happening? NVDW. We are at 20 million AUM, dividend yield 14%. It's higher than that. But look at this chart. This thing would have been beautiful at $30 a share. That's not when I bought it, unfortunately, but oh well. Last couple distributions, we had 45 cents. We had 36 cents, almost 36.5. Then we had 45 cents again, and then 51 cents. Very happy with NVDW as well. I will say the next one has been our top performer, but I think it was dethroned this week by a new up-and-comer. PLTW has carried the weekly payers on its back for a long time. That might be changing. 80 million AUM, dividend yield of 19.5%, but can it hold its spot in first place? We're going to find out very, very soon. I've been happy with this. Now, it did take a bit of a dip, but I mean, the payments have just been phenomenal. This one has had it has had 2 of the 3 highest weekly payments on record for my account, which is very, very impressive. The other one was ULTY. Last couple payments, we had 47 cents, we had 69 cents, 65 cents, and last but not least, 49 cents. So not a record breaker, but still very, very high. And I am still definitely a PLTW fan. TSLW has not been doing as well. AUM of almost 21 million, dividend yield of 24%. It pays out a lot. The volatility is high, but I will say it's just not performing too well. We had 17-cent dividends. We had 56-cent dividend. That was amazing. We had 48, almost 49-cent dividend, and last one was 47 cents. Still very high. I wonder if it's in the green or not, because it's definitely beaten down, but I'm really curious to see. So let's find out right now. Something very important to note when we're looking at these returns, the total returns, the weekly dividends, I've held QDTE, XDTE, and RDTE for the longest. So it does play a role because they've been trading for over a year. Now, I don't think I've held them for exactly a year yet. We're coming up on a year, but that is something to, remember. Think about that because we've had a full year with these and like a couple months with some of these others. That being said, let's check out the weekly payments for our $100 roughly invested. We have QDTE with 69 cents. We have XDTE with 74 cents and RDTE with 78 cents. All of these are decent. They're not super high. They're not super low. They're kind of right in the middle. I do like that RDTE is climbing back because we had a couple months earlier where it just wasn't doing too good. In the 45, 58, 58, not happy with that whatsoever. Now, sliding to the right, we can see we have YBTC, which 55 cents. Not great. The implied volatility has gone down because this guy used to pay in the 60s, 70s, even 80s. Something to think about. Something to think about. Next, we have WEEK, 8 cents. Same thing every time. We have MAGY with the 75 cents again. AAPW with 45 cents. Going to keep sliding over. We had COIW with $1.76. Amazing. Really large distribution. We have not seen one that big from COIW. I don't think ever. Nope. So very impressed with that. I'm happy with that number. Let's go. NVDW over $1, impressive. Then we had PLTW, again, $1.47. Can't be upset about it. It's paid so high. Look, $2.03, $2.08, just incredible. TSLW, a high payment, but just under that dollar mark with 94 cents. Last but not least, we have $6.08. Could be worse. Could be worse. This was the last monthly payment, so it's not even going to factor into a weekly. So I might even have to remove it to keep it more accurate, but let me know what you think in the comments. Now, sliding over to the right, we can see we made $15.31 this week, but if we go back and we remove this one, we zero it out, and then we slide back, we can see it actually was $9.23. Still a very solid week, our highest week yet, which I'm really pumped about. And it does make sense to remove that YETH payment because it was just massive. But I am happy about this. You can see we have all of them included on here now. I will say the last bottom ones, AMZW, BRKW, our new payers are not in yet because they're not on Seeking Alpha. So once that's in, it'll populate automatically with the price and the day change and all that good stuff. I'm really pumped for those ones. I will say honorable mention to HOOW. It paid out big time, almost $2 with its first distribution. Really happy about that. Here we can see our number of shares, average cost per share, all that good data. But I know what we want to know is that total return. So let's check that out. Look at these numbers. I shrunk myself down. QDTE up 6% in the green. XDTE up 2.88% in the green. So the battle between those two, QDTE, it is winning. RDTE is now green again in my portfolio, up 0.3%. YBTC is up 19%. WEEK is up 1.14%. MAGY is up 4.87%. Pretty solid. Then we have AAPW down 19%. Not great, but I thought it would be worse. It's slowly rebounding, which I do like to see, but it's going to take quite a bit of time. COIW is our new winner in the account. It's up 63.8%. Wow. What is happening? NVDW up there as well, up almost 38%. That's just amazing. And then, of course, we have PLTW up 59.4%. We're still getting good payments from it, but it's just not doing what it used to do because it's been in the 50 to 60% range in the green for the last, 5 weeks. So it's not continuing to climb, but that's okay. We're still sitting on a crazy winner. Then we have TSLW in the red by 3.6% and YETH, very new. We don't know how it's going to perform, but it's down 1.25%. I'm really, really happy with these. It's just crazy how this portfolio has been performing. So I'm going to slide us all the way to the right. And what we can see is our total dividends received. Now, again, they're not out for the new ones yet, and we haven't actually received a weekly pair from YETH. But this is just amazing. So again, the leverage payers have been trading for 3-4 months now, and they're already getting pretty close to some of the yearly dividends from our big two, almost big three. Our main payer so far has been RDTE. Despite the fall in price, it has been paying the most. QDTE is in second place, but again, they've just been trading for longer. Honorable mentions, COIW has paid $12. Amazing. NVDW 10, amazing. PLTW 21. And last but not least, we had TSLW almost with $12 in distributions. So if you guys are wanting this tracking spreadsheet, it's available for sale on spencerInvest.com. And if you just want the free cheat sheet for all the weekly pairs, check that out on there as well. Again, free for you guys. Thank you so much for all the support and for almost 20K. Now, if you guys are interested in the YieldMax total return from what we've seen, those videos are going to be popping up right now. So the YieldMax weekly pairs, just our update this week, has been amazing. And of course, we got to throw out BLOX, the newest weekly paying dividend ETF that is a crypto-based, but it's different than the ones that we've seen so far. So I think you guys are really going to enjoy. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for all the support, and I hope to see you in the next video.